Hi! I found a photograph, and I think we should talk about that photograph. And at the same time pay an homage to the old photographers who, without any concern of safety or any knowledge of safety, just went out there and showed the world what was going on. But before that, let's roll the intro. Hi, again. Do you remember a time when journalists, reporters, photographers were more interested in presenting real news than gossip about the biggest Hollywood stars or the biggest pop stars, or like as a photographer asked in a documentary I saw, when the fuck did Britney Spears' crutch get more interesting than what's going on in the world? I don't like that question, because it's so true. Anyway, I found this photograph in a newspaper online that showed photographers on the roof of a building waiting for something to happen during the Norrmalmsdrama in Sweden, where a bank robber, or actually two bank robbers, one of them was Clark Olofsson, took hostage and trying to, well, get money out of the bank. Also the birth of the Stockholm Syndrome, where the hostages kind of fall in love and start getting feelings for the crooks. And I want to put in a disclaimer that this video isn't at all a video made to talk down to photographers today that goes out risking their lives in Gaza, in Ukraine, in Iran, in North Korea, telling what the stories of what's really going on in the world. It's absolutely nothing to do with that. Those photographers and journalists and reporters, they are my absolute heroes in the world of journalism and documentary. Because I don't believe that heroes are born on a soccer field or a hockey rink or something like that. Those are not real heroes. That's actually the kind of photography I wanted to get into when I was a lot younger. The only thing that stopped me was my own courage, or lack of courage, I'd say. Because I was too cowardly to go out and travel to war zones and do photography there. Or report from those kind of places that are not good for you to be in. And this photograph that I'm going to show you is from that day and age where people weren't so concerned about safety. Because if you take a look at this photograph, what do you see? Take a moment. You see photographers, of course. Lots of photographers waiting for something to happen. But in the middle of all these photographers, there's a bloody sniper from the police, just waiting for these criminals to show their heads so he can, well, basically fire up on them. And I think this picture is so enormously crazy, because this is nothing, this couldn't happen today. Not because photographers are cowards, absolutely not, but because safety concerns. Jesus, you don't want a photographer getting shot at when the bank robbers run out of the bank, and you certainly don't want the photographers to bother the police officer doing his job by protecting the hostages and, well, the photographers too. That's just bonkers and crazy. And a part of me just want to go back to this old times when red meat wasn't dangerous and when cigarettes didn't kill you and when you didn't need a helmet to go out riding your bike to school. And this picture also got me thinking about these old hardened journalists that wasn't afraid to challenge governments, politicians, leaders, dictators, whatever, just bringing out what was lurking in the darkness, bringing it out into the light. To me, they were true heroes. Like I said, I don't believe that heroes are born in sports. Heroes are born by selfishly going out and do good for other people. Not to say sports isn't good for people, it's actually really good, but can sometimes be a bit exaggerated, unfortunately. These reporters, they dared to stand up for something, and photographers, of course. And they stood up for what they thought was good at the time, and what actually was good. And they didn't question their mission, they questioned their subjects instead. And they had an ideology to work from. Today, in the world of journalism, we get gossip. Fortunately, no pictures of Britney Spears' crotch, but we get too much gossip, too much lies, too much disinformation, too much fake news, too much light news. And something that bothers me a lot in today's media is photographs. We don't get these long photographic essays anymore, at least in local papers. We get bad images bought from bureaus or some fool with a mobile phone selling their photographs to a newspaper, and those pictures make every single piece of journalistic gold boring. Pictures should be, should I say, pictures should be the extra spice on the text, and the text should be the extra spice on the pictures. They should all complement each other. And they don't when someone runs out with a cell phone just shooting photographs in random. And this also became a problem with, at least here in Sweden, when someone sees an accident, they rarely get out of the car to help the injured or call rescue services. Instead, they start taking photos. And that happened to me when we went in a car crash a couple of years ago. And fortunately, I called the ambulance. But there were so many people around the two cars involved in the accident, just shooting pictures, that I went mad. I fucking charged at them and drove them away. And we had even one reporter almost following my parents into the ambulance with a fucking zoom lens. And I went absolutely mad. And that reporter actually ran over a snow pile 2 meters high because I was so angry. And when I turned around, I had the police force and the fire department right at my back, and they were applauding me. They were cherishing me. I actually thought they were going to arrest me for something. But that's a problem. That's a huge problem. Especially when people photographing accidents doesn't care about letting the rescue services come through just to get this picture to sell it to a newspaper. So the world of journalism needs press photographers again. Bad, really bad. They need these kind of reporters and photographers with cojones and hair on their chests, and a hell of a lot of courage. Since this video of chaos emerged from a single photograph showing a situation on Norrmalm in Stockholm where they robbed a bank, of course there's documentaries about it. And I'll try to find some interesting info and put it in the comments. And I also, if you have a Netflix subscription, I encourage you to go watch Clark, which is kind of a drama comedy series about this Clark Olofsson guy, who was once considered to be Sweden's most dangerous criminal. Actually, I think he was considered that until he died earlier this year. He's quite an original character. So go watch that show. And there's one of the Skarsgård brothers playing this Clark. And I think it's Bill or Bull. But yeah, check it out. His performance is awesome. Like all those pesky Skarsgårds. So, while you're watching those videos, reading, watching Clark on Netflix, typing away comments on this video about what you think about, well, safety in photography and how photography changed in the press the last 40 years or so, I'm going to start working on my next video. And you'll see me then in that one. Hopefully. And until then, so long and goodbye.